Hello all. This session we are going to have a discussion about the number functions in calculated fields. So this will actually introduces you to number functions and also their use in the Tableau. Okay. So when you talk about a calculated fields, nothing theoretical that we can speak about this particular topic, but we can actually get inside our Tableau environment itself to have the discussion. So this is our Tableau environment. And I'm not sure if you could remember this. See here, when it goes to calculated field, what we try to do with a calculated field is that, see, the calculated field itself is powered by some kind of functions. So when you try to write something in your calculated field, you will make use of any one of these functions so that you try to obtain a new measure value from the existing data. That's what is the overall objective, right? So in this way, there are lots and lots of functions which is available with a Tableau. So the first and the foremost function that we are going to discuss is number functions. So number function is something which you can perform it only on the data values. Okay. So whenever you're going to have a numerical values in your data, that time you can actually make use of all of these number functions. We will get an idea what are the different types of number functions which is there in Tableau. Okay. So, but then you can use it only with the numerical value. Okay. So that you need to remember it. Say, for example, if we take our superstore example itself, so the one numerical value that I remember is, of course, our sales. Okay. So let's try to create a calculated field for this sales itself. Okay. Say, for example, I will just give it as, I just wanted to find out the minimum sales. So what I will try to do is that I will just make use of a function which is called as a minimum function. And inside this minimum function, what I'm going to pass is, I will just pass on sales. So that will automatically get me the minimum of the sales, right? So the calculation is valid. I just click on OK. Once that is done, what is happening is that I have got a minimum sales measure. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to pick in my category to my rows. And then what I'm going to do is I just wanted to find out this, this sales which I created, right? Minimum sales. Okay. So the minimum sales is there. So now I'm going to get here as minimum sales. See, if you observe here, what it is saying is that as soon as I bring this minimum sales measure into my marks card, what happened is that its name is changed to AGG. Okay, which means that you cannot aggregate this anymore since it is already aggregated, which is it has already been aggregated to the lowest level of detail, which means the smallest sales value for all the records. So we have already got that. So that's why it has been converted into an AGG. Okay. So now I'll just give the text here. So you can identify that these are the minimum values for these categories. Okay. Suppose if I will try to get my subcategory also here, let me just get the subcategory also here. Okay. So I can now make out that for the subcategory also, I'm just getting the minimum values. For the bookcases, it was 35.5, etc. Okay. So now what you could have got an idea is that this is how you're going to make use of a calculated field. And with respect to a calculated field, there are different types of functions that you can make use of it. Of course, we will not be in a position to see all the different functions, but I'm just going to give you an overview of what are the different functions which is available with number. Okay. So let us get inside our calculated field itself so that you will get a better idea. Okay. So say, for example, this is just a sample. Okay. Just I'm creating it as a sample. I'm not going to create anything. I'm just going to show you all the different number functions. Okay. So now see here, ABS I typed in. So here the function is ABS actually. The function is ABS. Okay. Now what you're saying is that, seeing is that ABS, then you have to give inside a number. If you give a number inside it, then it is going to return the absolute value of the number. Okay. So in case if you do not want to use it as an absolute value, you can also make use of your sales itself. Okay. So if for example, if I will use it absolute value of my sales itself, it's done, right? Yeah, absolute value of my sales. Okay. So but it is giving me an error, because you can understand now what is the problem here. Okay. So the function is it is ABS of number, so it is expecting me to give me a number. Okay. So the this is what is one number function that you can make use of it. Then you have ACOS, that is the function which is, you can see here. Okay. What this function is actually trying to do is, means like ACOS function, if you see here, this is also going to return the arc cosine of a number. Okay. And the result will be stored in a radians. Okay. So say for example, if I give it as a COS of 1, I can get the value of it. Okay. So that's the meaning of my ACOS function. And also I have an ASIN function. If you could see, it is an arc sine of a number. Similarly, a tan is there, which is also going to return the tangent of your number. And then you have a tan 2 also, which is nothing but, y number and x number, which is going to return the arc tangent of the two given numbers, x and y. So you can see the explanation here. Why I'm not spending some time over here is just running through, is already the explanation is here for you. Just that you need to know which are all is the number functions which is available in my Tableau. That's why I'm just giving you an overview. Okay. So of course, these functions, these are some of the functions that we will not be generally making use of it in our everyday calculations. However, if you remember, the first example I gave you was with the sales, right? I just wanted to find out the minimum of the sales or the maximum of the sales. These are certain things that we might be commonly using it. Okay. And also we have one more function which is called as a ceiling function. So if you have this ceiling function, so let us just click on what is the meaning of a ceiling function. So ceiling function is actually something which you will use it to return a integer value. Suppose for example, you have 3.1415 ceiling. If you do it, it is going to give the value as 4. Okay. So generally ceiling will give you equivalent value or a greater value, whereas your floor will give you a lower value. Okay. So this is one more function which is a part of your number function. Okay. As I said, ceiling and floor, both of things is going to do the same thing. So let us just explore the floor as well. So if you see here floor, this is one more function which is there, and it will actually be equal or lesser value. So the same number 3.1415, but when you use a floor function, you get the value as 3. When you use a ceiling function, you get a value as a 4. So this is one more function which is coming under the category of your number functions. And then also you have an expression. So let me just type exp. So which is nothing but your expression. So this will see, suppose if you give it as expression of 5, then it is going to raise that to a power, and then it is going to give me e to the power 5. Okay. So this also could be used in your when you wanted to perform your calculations using your calculated calculated fields. Naturally, these functions will be very, very handy for you because of the different functionality it is going to provide to you. Okay. And then we have something called as a hex bin function. So this is also one more function, that bin x and bin y. Okay. See here, this is the way you have to make use of this particular function called as hex bin x number and number. So this is going to map an xy coordinate to the x coordinate of the nearest hexagonal bin. So this is something which you will be using along with the bins. Okay, so you can just give it as hex bin x if you give, and then if you give your longitude and latitude, if you give it, then in that way also you can use it. So once you have given the latitude and the longitude, then it is going to give me the I mean it'll automatically scale down, right? So that's the scale down with respect to the x coordinate. Okay, so in case if you give it as hex bin y, then it is going to scale down as per the coordinate y. Okay, so that is one more function which is there in your number function. Then you have called something called as ln function. So ln is something which is going to return the natural logarithm of a number. So if at all, if the number is less than or equal to 0, then it is going to return a null. Okay, then another common function that all of us might be aware with numbers is that logarithmic function. So log is there. So log, generally you will use it along with a number and a base, and then as soon as you give a number and the base, it is going to return the logarithm of that particular number for the given base. Suppose if the base value, in case if you omit the base value and try to give try to use the function log, then automatically the base value will be 10. Okay, now one more function is our max function. So in max function, again, we made use of your, we used this one, right? So minimum we used. Similarly, we use max, and in your, let me just use max. And max, if you take it, you can give it as an expression. So if I will give it as a sales, okay, so this is going to take it as a sales. Okay, so we can use the max function in case of, like, you wanted to find out the maximum sales. Then you can use this particular number functions for your sale. So similarly, we made already use of the minimum function. Then we have the pi function, and we have the power function. So pi function will just return the numeric constant. We already know that. And then power function is something like this. We will use it. You just give the power of the values you give. So 5 to the power of 2, it is going to give me the answer as 25. So you will always give power number followed by the power you will give it. And then we have something called as a radians. Radians is one more function which is available. So what happens with the radians is that radians also you will give a number. So radians, if you type it, so then it is giving me, you have to give me a number. So you can just give a number, and that corresponding number will be converted to its corresponding radians. Suppose if I will give it as 180, then the corresponding radians is going to be 3.149, right? So that will be, that conversion is also possible. And then round function is there. So you have something called as a round function. So you take the round function. What you need to do is that you need to pass number and decimal. Okay, so the number actually will, it's something like this, right? If you, yeah, let me just type in here so that if, in case if you have an example, that will be clear for you. So round is here. So the example is here. Suppose, for example, round off, what you're giving is, what it was telling me was here, you just have to use the number. The number is what? 3.1415. And what else I need to give? I need to tell the decimal. So this decimal I have given it as 1. So it is taking 1 decimal. After a point, it is taking 1 value as, 1 decimal place. So it is 3.1. So however you wanted to round your number, you can make use of this round function, and you make sure that rounding is performed. And then next one, what we have is a sign function. So SIGN, it's a sign function you have. And again, sign is also, you're going to give the number. So for that corresponding number, it will just give, I think it is a positive or a negative. That's what it will say, I guess. So let us just see here as well. So there is a sign here. So you can say, see here. Okay. So if the number is positive, 0, if the number is 0, -1 if the number is negative. Okay. So that's what it is going to give. And sign, I have to use it with a number. Okay, fine. Then you have sin also. Sin is the one more function, which is your sine of the angle function. So it is going to return the sine of the angle. So if you pi divided by 4, if you give, it is giving me the value. And then we have square root function, which is your sqrt function. So sqrt, it is going to return the square root of your number. And then we have square also. Square is another function which is available. So this is going to give just the square of the number. So if you give square of 5, then it is going to give me 25. Then we have tan function. Yeah. So these are some of the functions that we can use as a number functions in your calculated fields. So as I said, the calculated field is something which is powered by the functions, the various type of functions that you use. With that power only, this calculated field is it will work really very nice. So you need to have an idea of what are the different functions. Of course, you do not have to summarize on all of these functions. At least, like, these are the functions which can be used with a number. You should at least have that much idea. And I showed you the way how you can make use of the um, how you can make use of these functions in your calculated field and bring that to your visualization. So that much would do for understanding the number functions. So that's all I have for this session. See you in the string functions.